Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Akal Wasap. Today's lesson is entitled, The Lord Will Bring Inconvenience. And Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. And as always, the sit-downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel of the Most High. Now, I was going through my phone, and, as you go throughout your day, the Spirit give you, inspiration to do lessons. They give you different titles to go ahead and go into to bring out this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to feed the sheep and the lambs of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that title was, The Lord is going to bring inconvenience. And right now you got this whole hurricane / tropical storm / earthquakes happening out here in LA, and it's just catching everybody off guard. You know what I mean? And what they were saying was this hurricane is or this tropical storm is the first of its kind here in California. And it's just throwing, like I said, it's throwing everybody off guard. And then the Lord is smiting this place with earthquakes as well. So, and that's just the spirit that's going to be in the world, the spirit of inconvenience. And we know that the Lord controls everything in the earth by way of the angels. So the Lord is going to be causing these angels to do particular things and work on the minds of people to bring judgment. Now, I'm going to start off with Revelation 6:4, just to build up the vibration, because we know Esau, Edom, is in a position of power. All right, if you don't know, the Edomites are the so-called white people. And when we talk about the white people, we're talking about the upper echelon, the elites, the shadow government that's controlling things behind the scenes. So here in Revelation 6:4, it says, And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Now, as always, this has Esau's name written all over it. Number one, we seeing that this sword was given unto him, going back to the blessing that Esau received by his father Isaac through the Spirit in Genesis 27. And in red, these Edomites came out red all over like a hairy garment. And then it goes into their lot, part of their lot. All right, their assignment, or what the Lord created them for. And as you see there, to take peace from the earth. All right, Esau is the wicked, pursuing the Malachi, the first chapter, and he's to take peace from the earth. He's to be the whipping stick. He's to be the great sword of the Lord. And through him, the Lord is going to be bringing all these perils to pass. We always speak about Jacob's trouble, which is a time period that have not been in the face of the earth. And we're going to experience that in this generation. All right. Number one, this generation is full of wickedness and evil. When you read in 2 Esdras, the 15th chapter, it speaks about how wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. So the Lord is going to exceedingly correct this place with judgment. He's going to be using Esau. Now, we don't know if Esau is using this weather manipulation equipment to bring this hurricane, because it was kind of weird how it was it's a tropical storm and then an earthquake hit, but at the end of the day, it is the Lord that's doing these things. But the point is, Esau is set up to take peace from the earth, and through Esau, the Lord is going to be bringing these different inconveniences. With this tropical storm, they sandbagging shit all over the place. They closing down schools for the day. They telling people to stay home, and then they got C-19 trying to creep back. They talking about a lethal variant that's, becoming widespread throughout Babylon. So we don't know how Esau is going to be bringing it, but we do know in this time period that there's going to be a lot of different strange shit happening and judgments going out. So this is go down a little bit. I'm actually just reading to it, verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Now the balances represents judgment. All right, the different things that we went through in our history, from the slavery to Jim Crow to Willie Lynch, and to The various things that we read about that happened to the Native Americans, the so-called blacks and Hispanics. That was a cup that we had to drink. All right. And I heard a voice in the midst of the fourth beast say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Now this is going into hyperinflation, and that's what we finna experience. They saying China economy isn't doing well. All right. And, China is a major producer of the electronics, the wares, the various things that we constantly consume in Babylon. It comes from China, Indonesia, Japan, so if, that system crumble, then that could potentially spell a domino effect to all these different global economies, because they're using words like global recession, and, right now there's already inflation. The cost of living is already ridiculous. It's already very challenging to get building materials, to build properties, or even maintenance properties. Shit, where I live at now, the elevators is constantly down. And then when they go down, they down for a couple of weeks. One time it was down for 6 months, is because the parts that they need is coming from China. And they're not producing like that. And that's just gonna, continue to weaken this economy here. And it's gonna cause things to be very expensive. Now, let me get this in another translation, because in another translation it actually expound on what's being said a little better. So, and of course, this is the Blue Letter Bible, which allows us to go into the languages that the Bible is translated from. It's always good to go in and see these different words to get clarity. Now, the blue letter do go off, so you got to make sure that you're using your spiritual, you're being spiritual when you're going into these certain things. But here's the NIV in this particular verse in Revelation 6 and 5. It says, 6 and 6. It says, then I heard what sounded like the voice among the 4 living creatures, these angels, saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages. So you factor in now today's wage. If you're making $180 to $250 a day, you're doing pretty good. So it's going to come a time in the very near future that the inflation is going to be so high to where basic necessities is going to cost a day's pay. You think about going to the grocery store, you thinking about getting some bread, some fruit, some vegetables, maybe a package of meat, and that shit is going to be extremely high. And that's the inconvenience that the Lord is going to be bringing upon the inhabitants of the earth, man. People, is blinded by bread and circus, all this entertainment, concerts. It's the end of summer, people trying to get their last little vacations, destinations in. But meanwhile, the Lord is sharpening the sword, and he's finna heavily oppress these people with by their pockets. And that's just one of the plagues that the Lord is going to be sending. But let's continue on. It says 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Now the oil and the wine represents this information, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right. When you read Matthew the 25th chapter, and it goes into the 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish, and the foolish took no oil in their lamps. That oil represents the complete understanding of this truth. Now the wine represents wisdom as well. When Yahushua was on the scene and he was bringing out the truth, he told them that new wine can't enter into old bottles lest they burst. So what he was saying was the information that he was coming with can't enter into those old jakes that was old and set in their ways. They constantly, they're filled up with information that's not gonna save them. So that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be so extreme out here with inflation and all kind of judgment going out. But the Lord is gonna have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to preserve the elect. When you go here to let me see, Psalms 120. Let's get this. Is it 120? Maybe Psalms, 107 and 20, Salakia. Forgive me, Akim. This is Psalm 107, verse 20. He sent his word and healed them. See, this word is going to heal the elect, and it starts off with the mind. Yahweh Shai said it himself. He said, if you, what is it? John 8 and 32. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So we're mentally free from this place. When you look at a person that's outside the truth and you have a conversation with them, you can see that they're held captive. Their mind is limited to what what reality is. They pretty much just focusing on chasing the bag, making the money, leveling up, these different Instagram phases. They just worried about, what's going on in their specific world or that realm that they're in, so that they're held captive. They weren't running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to keep up with the different fads and trends, holidays, all this different shit, anniversary, birthdays, So if you constantly in the spirit of the world, then you're defiled, you're polluted. So what this word does, it gives the healing. It heals the different, perceptions of life that we've been taught here in Babylon the Great. It says he sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destruction. So part of being delivered is receiving this word. You got to receive this word. See, the elect, they're going to hear this word and repent and convert and worship the true power. All these other philosophies that's out here, man, it's going to be found out that they were all lies and fables. And when the Lord, really start making shit happen here, just like we see today, with this hurricane, this tropical storm, and these earthquakes, they giving it titles, the hurricane. It's bitches hitting my phone talking about some, hey, you all right? You just watch, man. When the Lord really starts standing up and making shit come to pass, man, that's going to change the behavior in all these people, man. And it's going to bring that inconvenience, But let me go back over here to Revelation 6, because it was something else that I want to get kind of segue in. So we was reading Revelation 6 and 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and then 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the wine. And we went into how the oil and the wine represents the truth. The Lord isn't going to take away this truth, because this truth is a part of the healing. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to be our stability for the times, So the wisdom is going to not be hurt, but it's going to be inflation is going to be a situation where Esau is going to try to make the transition from this current monetary system to a new monetary system, which requires implantable technology. And he's going to be using this inflation to bring it. In the ancient Roman Empire, which America is the revival of the ancient Roman Empire, that was one of the ways that it went down. It was through inflation. And what happened was they were mingling different metals with the current, with the silver coins that they had. Because just like in this system, you got coins with eagles on them. Well, in the ancient Roman Empire, you had coins with eagles on them as well. Which that further. That's just one of the things that we bring out to draw parallels, how this current system mirrors the ancient Roman Empire. But they start mixing other metals in those silver coins, and it was called a denarius, which is 10 asses. And when you mix the different metals into it, it makes it impure, so it brings down the value of it. And that's what's going to be happening with the American dollar. You got these different countries from Russia, from Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That's a conglomerate of nations coming together to try to do their own thing, to detach from the American dollar. Ultimately, they trying to be the next, superpower in the world, but not knowing that Jacob is going to rule after Esau. But what the BRICS is doing is they're not needing to deal with America like they have been. You know, these other countries is purchasing oil from other places in different currencies, so that's just going to cause this economy here to tank. You know, and when I had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And these is characteristics of Esau. When you read in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, it speaks about how this devil is as death and hell. He's all about oppression and causing people to suffer and causing people to feel these low conditions in the earth. You know, just look at the history of the Edomites. You know, when you know, the Europeans came over here oppressing Gad and Reuben and the Native American tribes, man, putting them in them boarding schools, snatching, you know, I mean, Gad was going off, you know, they was worshiping all kind of shit, but, you know, when you read these different documentaries on how these Edomites came over here to the Americas and just destroying the culture of the Native Americans, you know, they were all about oppression. You know, killing their resources, killing their livestock, killing their bulls, taking their women, raping them, you know, snatching their land from them, and then turn around making peace treaties with them, then turn around and break that. So just the natural behavior of these Edomites is death and hell. Antiochus Epiphanes, he was forcefully converting Israelites to the Greek's, you know, manners and customs. You know, it's just the same spirit. So these Edomites is just about that death and hell. That's why the scriptures say never trust them. Ecclesiastes 12:10, never trust thine enemy. Just as iron rusteth, so if it's wickedness. You know, because the spirit in them is off. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, which is America, to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. So these is the spirits that the Lord is going to be putting on these people. You know, in Isaiah 19, it speaks about how the Lord had mingled a perverse spirit in the land of Egypt. So it's an ass backwards, upside down vibration here in America. And the Lord is going to be putting the spirit on these Edomites to kill with the sword and with hunger. That's your famine. And with death, the different disasters. And with the beasts of the earth. And the Lord going to be causing these animals to get busy too. So, you know, the Lord is going to most definitely be bringing inconveniences in the earth. So, you know, you want to constantly, you know, for the brothers in the faith, you want to constantly make sure you in this word, you constantly getting built up with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because pursuant to Isaiah 33:6 is going to be our stability when these conditions continue to increase in the earth. You know, because it's going to get crazy, man. You know, and also in Isaiah 19, it speaks about there shall not be any work in Egypt. So just a picture of fucked up economy. They trying to transition to a new monetary system, and then there's no work in Babylon. So, you know, the Lord is going to, you know, spice it up here, and it's going to get terribly worse, you know, for those who are outside of the truth. And Lord willing, we are part of the elect, and we enduring to the end. So I'm going to leave it at that. Lord willing, you're edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. Shalom, Akim, stay strong.